and welcome to the Hotline, your online hotline direct line to the women-only attorneys at Hofheimer Family Law. My name is Katie Carter, and I'm so glad you're here. I'm an attorney at Hofheimer Family Law, a Virginia-based family law firm dedicated to representing women exclusively in divorce, custody, and support cases. I'm here today with Brittany Hudgens, the newest addition to our Hofheimer Family Law team. Brittany graduated from Regent School of Law back in 2022, and she worked with the Assistant Commonwealth Attorney's Office in Hampton and then 2 local area law firms before she found her way to us. She's handled cases across kind of a broad spectrum of practice areas, including criminal law, estate planning, and family law. And prior to law school, she also worked for 4 years as a client associate at Wells Fargo, which brings a wide range of also financial experience to her practice, which is a really exciting addition for us as well. Thank you so much for joining me today, Brittany. I'm so excited to get to know you.
Hello. Thank you for having me. Excited to get to know you as well.
Good, good. Well, I'm just going to jump right in. My first question, can you tell us a little bit more about your background and the path that led you to us?
Sure. I was born and raised in Alabama. And after undergrad, I thought about going to law school, but at the time it really intimidated me, especially studying for the LSAT, trying to figure out where to go to law school. And I had just watched The Wolf of Wall Street, the Martin Scorsese movie with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Love that
And
movie.
it's a wild movie. I'm glad I went and saw it by myself and not with my parents because there's a lot going on in that movie. So when I saw that there was a brokerage firm that was hiring, I applied. It was nothing like Wolf of Wall Street because now there's FINRA, SEC regulations in place that are not doing all the crazy things from that movie. But it was
Mhm.
still an interesting job. I was there for about 4 years. I got my Series 7. And then when it was time to study for the 66 to do the state security, I thought, I think I would rather study for the LSAT. And so that's what I did. I studied for the LSAT, um, ended up getting a score that paired well with Regent. It was very scary, but at the same time, I was like, yeah, I want to branch out and do my own thing and move to Virginia Beach. And I loved it, made great friends. Law school wasn't a fairy tale. It wasn't great every day, but I had a really great experience at Regent. And that's when I got my internship at the Hampton Commonwealth Attorney's Office. And I found prosecution very compelling and did that as an intern and then as a prosecutor for a year and then got into private practice, which was very intimidating. But I did get exposure to criminal law, to civil litigation, including real estate and landlord tenant law. And then, of course, family law, which to me, family law involves all of those different things. So being able to specialize in one area of law, like family law, you still have to have some competency in things like landlord tenant because I have clients they have rental
Renting.
agreements.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're like, well, I'm just going to move out and then my spouse is going to have to take care of the rent. It's like, no, you're still a party to the agreement. So you need to make sure that you've properly terminated the landlord tenant relationship. And then, of course, criminal law will come up, protective orders come up, and there may be bankruptcy. So
Mhm.
it this role as a family law attorney allows me to use all of that experience and all of that competency to best serve clients.
Well, that makes me feel really good because I went straight from college to law school and straight from law school
Good for
to
you,
here.
though.
So I've
Good for
only
you.
ever I've only ever done family law. But you're right. It really does like touch on, a broad range of areas. Sometimes I wonder,
Mhm.
how different it would be to, do other things. But I love the human component of family law and getting to like work
Yeah.
with people in some of the hardest moments of their lives and kind of guide them through. And that's been what's most compelling to me. But it's a pretty tricky area of law. So like why did you make that move? And especially with your financial background, with the criminal stuff, with all the litigation, why was family law the path you ended up taking, and what makes family law, so important to you?
Well, I agree with you. It is the human component for me because with prosecution, you are dealing with alleged victims and police officers and defense counsel. But when it
Mhm.
comes to the alleged victims, there's not this relationship like you have with family law clients. I mean, sometimes if it's a more serious crime, but
Yeah.
with family law, you're able to really build a rapport and it's so multifaceted because there's so many things that are involved. It can be custody and visitation, support, and then also grounds for divorce. Or even, I mean, I've had clients that they have no children together, but it's still a lengthy process because so much is involved. Maybe there's a lot of equitable distribution. And so you build that relationship. It's very personal.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the bond of it and being able a lot of times these
Yes.
clients stay your clients for multiple years depending on I mean, sometimes it's their choice, sometimes it's how complex the litigation has become or even the negotiations. It's not just because you're not going to court doesn't necessarily mean things are going to resolve, in a matter of weeks or months. It can take a lot longer to work through the process. And I've always really I mean, I've always really liked doing that work, getting to know everyone, being able to figure out what's important to this person and how to achieve those specific goals. But this is kind of another point where our backgrounds are a little bit different. I came straight from law school here, so I have only ever represented women only in family law cases, and you haven't.
Okay.
So can
Yeah.
we, if you don't mind, I'd love to talk about that and why you made the
Sure.
switch, and why you think women only practice will be like the next step in your career.
Well, I think women only practice the reason I made that switch is because I think it's just like any other profession, like for a doctor, for example, who specializes in orthopedics or a um, ophthalmologist. I mean, you don't go to your eye doctor and say, "Oh, hey, by the way, while I'm here, I've got an issue with my knee." I mean, knowing that you can trust a doctor who specializes in that particular area. And with women, we're unique. So as a woman, I have that empathy, that sympathy, and that experience so that I'm in a unique position to address a woman's needs.
Yeah, I feel I'm married. I have 2 little kids, and I feel so much a part of the conversation of all of the things that women are saying about their marriages, about being the default parent, about, carrying the unpaid domestic labor and all of the work that goes into these things. And so often that's what you're trying to get across to a judge is what it was actually like during the marriage. And I usually tell people we want to make sure that we show a picture of what it was like rather than just telling them. We don't want to say he was a narcissist or he was uninvolved or, we want to paint a picture of what domestic life was really like. And
Mhm.
I feel like being a woman, having the same experiences, being able to, speak both to my own experiences and my clients' experiences is a very kind of natural thing. And I always remind people too, it seems to me like people get upset about women only representation in a way that they don't about men only representation. And there are 2 law firms in the Hampton Roads
Mhm.
area that represent men only, which,
Yeah.
there's space in the market for everyone. There's
Mhm.
space for all these different perspectives. Ours is simply a different perspective. And what I like about it is being able to be focused on a specific experience and a specific, kind of I it's not always the same, right? But we have a lot of similar threads throughout a number of different cases, and I think that allows you to do a better job because you have the same issues coming up over and over and over again, and you know the case law, you know the things backwards and forwards. Of course, you know the other side too because you have to anticipate those arguments and you have to prepare for how you're going to address any criticisms that come your way. But I've always liked it and felt like it was a very, very natural fit and a very, important part of, like, both my professional work and my personal brand. And I've liked building that. And I'm always excited to bring someone new in and kind of bring their perspective to help enhance, my personal practice and the firm's practice as a whole so we can all better represent clients. And I'm gonna keep coming back to it, but I love the financial experience that you have because I think that is really unique and is really helpful, especially to people with higher net worth or more complicated equitable distribution. A lot of times, both parties don't come in with the same information about what assets and liabilities are
Sure.
involved in the marriage, and being able to get to the bottom of it and to not be fooled by any like lack of disclosure or anything like that, I think is just such like a really valuable, point for in your favor.
Yeah, and I mean, sometimes people in general can be so focused on what's an instant gratification versus,
Yeah.
well, I don't even care what kind of investments he may have, but it matters because it may not look like a lot now, but in the future, that can have a big impact on your on your ability to support yourself in the future.
Yeah.
So we should at least look at, if you're going to waive something, potentially waive something in a separation agreement, then you should know what you're waiving, whether
Yeah.
it's the informal discovery or formal discovery, so that we can actually take a look at it and see what your interest may be, because it could be more significant than what she realizes.
Yeah. Well, and don't walk away from the fight before you even have the answers. I hear that all the time. Like, I don't
Yeah.
want
Yeah.
anything from him. I just want a divorce. I think a lot of women are trying to avoid that gold digger label. But the reality is that the way the law looks at it, you guys are a partnership, just like in a business you
Yes.
would be. And you're
Yeah.
both entitled to what was earned, purchased, and acquired during the course of your marriage. So I would recommend against waiving anything in general, and definitely against waiving it without even, uncovering what's there. You definitely want to make sure that you
Yeah.
have, someone like Brittany to go through it and figure out what's there so they can advise you. And statistically, women are more likely to end up in poverty after divorce than men, and more likely to have fewer resources in retirement than men. And some of that comes down to the choices that women are making today. When you say, I don't want anything, I just want a divorce, how many options are you removing from yourself and from your children? You need to be able to weigh all of those things, and you need someone like Brittany in your corner to help you weigh it so that you make the best decision possible, both for yourself and your family, both for now and for down the line. And that's, I think, it's complicated. I mean, that's why you say you touch on so many different areas of law, because it does, right? We're talking
Mhm.
about your divorce today, but also what that's going to look like tomorrow and for the next several decades. Well, that leads me perfectly to my next question, which is, do you have any big goals for yourself in the next year or 5 years? Where do you see yourself both in law, professionally, and in life, kind of personally?
Well, professionally, the goal is to advocate for as many clients as possible. And even though it's not criminal law that we're practicing here, there's still a sense of justice to seek for these women
Yeah.
who may have gone through horrific relationships and have maybe children or lots of equitable distribution, spousal support. So to advocate for as many clients as possible and seek justice in every case, whether it's just a separation agreement or it's a full blown divorce trial. Because to me, that would be the success, is if a client walks away and she feels like I represented her best interest and really supported her through the entire process. And
Yeah.
then my personal goal is to fix the flooring and the walls in my condo that I've had since 2023. Things just keep coming up.
Yeah, so
Last
you're a handy
year,
woman too.
the one of the HVAC units, oh
Mm.
gosh, I wish. One of the HVAC units in my condo went out last summer. It was rough, and that had to be replaced. So it just feels like sometimes there's these delays that come up, and and I've always wanted to keep a particular amount of money in savings and have that to fall back on in case of emergencies like an HVAC. So my goal is to fix up that condo. And really, in 5 years, I would love to have a condo at the beach. I'm such a condo person because I
Mhm.
love having the HOA that takes care of the roof and the exterior and
Yeah.
the lawn. And then I'm just responsible for the inside. I'd love to live at the beach. I know that's a crazy thing with water insurance and hazard insurance and all that, but I want to hear seagulls
I mean, I don't
and
think
the
Virginia
waves.
Beach is as bad as like, different parts of like the Outer Banks where, things wash away
Yeah.
so much more frequently.
Yeah.
But
That's where I would like to live,
yeah,
is Virginia Beach.
yeah, yeah. That sounds exciting. I would like that. My husband would like that too.
Yeah.
I live in Newport News, and we have a house with
Okay.
a lot of upkeep, and we've replaced our HVAC in the last few years too, so I can completely feel you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is literally always something. It's always something.
Always something.
But
Yeah.
I'm like you too. I have to keep a particular amount in savings, and I'm always talking to people about like high yield savings accounts and managing
Mhm.
investments and making sure to invest early and often. And I think that money in general is something that women should be talking about more, both among friends and kind of in a professional capacity, so that um, even from an early age, or from as early as possible at least, even at the point that you're getting divorced or separating, like it's never too late to start preparing for the future, to get more financially savvy, to make sure that you have whatever you need, because you never know when a tree's gonna fall on the roof or the HVAC
Yeah.
is gonna go out, and then that's I feel like
Yeah.
that's always part of a conversation when a woman wants to keep the house, right? It's like, it's not just a question of how much is the mortgage. We have to talk about how much the HOA fees are. We have to talk
Yeah.
about how much you would have to put in, not just to, like, improvements. It's not just that you wanna update your bathroom and make it, like, something really fancy, but what about when the boring things happen and when the HVAC
Yeah.
breaks and, your dishwasher floods your kitchen or something? Can you afford the mortgage plus all the other things, and the things like mowing the lawn that maybe was done for you before that you'll have to do yourself in the future? It's always a good idea to kind of keep your eye on all of those things when you're making a decision about whether to buy or sell or rent, or kind of
Yeah.
whatever that looks like. But a beachfront condo sounds
I'm
pretty
always very
idyllic.
nosy when I have Yeah, I'm always very nosy when I have those first client meetings because I mean, they normally go for over an hour because I really want to know everything about the relationship, but then also the finances, because not because I'm judging, but because it's really helpful to know who is in charge of the finances during the marriage and what's your current status and how are we going to maintain that, and then also form a new plan going forward once you're divorced.
And everyone's so different.
Yeah.
So many families have such different systems for how they manage their money and who manages it. I've seen tons where it's only one party or the other who manages it,
Yeah.
but I see more and more where both parties are participating in it, which is probably ideal, because then at least everybody knows what's there to divide. But financial literacy is, I think, one of the key points, especially at the point that you're getting divorced, because it's no longer going to be a joint family decision. It's going to be a question of the priorities you set and the goals you manage and what that looks like, now and in the future. So I think it sounds like you have a lot of healthy, productive lessons to teach your clients too, as they
I hope
kind of,
so.
kind of learn what the way is going to look like forward. Is there anything else that you would say is special about you and your practice, and what can clients expect when they work with you?
Well, I am a big coffee drinker and I love movies. And I have always been into American Girl dolls. I know this seems superficial.
No,
So
I love it too.
I grew up loving American Girl dolls and changing their outfits every Friday. So I like to dress up, even if I don't have court, just because it's fun.
Yes.
And um, yeah, I love music. I have one sibling and he has three nephews. They're 12, 9, and the youngest one is about to turn 6. So I don't have children of my own, but I have these nephews that I love and I'm very protective of them. So, and there was a time when my brother's ex-wife, there were just things that I didn't necessarily like about what was happening with those boys. And so when a mom is telling me she's concerned about the health and well-being of her children, even though I don't have children of my own, I can remember what that was like
Yeah.
for my nephews and how sometimes that would keep me up. I remember talking to my grandmother who had Alzheimer's, and that's what we talked about was those three boys.
Mhm.
Um, and so I can empathize even though I don't have children of my own because I love those 3 little boys as though they were my children.
Yeah.
So, I do approach that with sympathy and understanding that you want the best for your children.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like you in that way too. It was a originally kind of a family dispute that ultimately led me down the road to family law. I think I've been saying that I wanted to be a divorce lawyer since I was about 10 years old,
Oh,
because
wow.
of family stuff and extended
Yeah.
family. Not my parents. My parents are still married, but I don't think people talk enough about how divorce and custody cases can shape not just a nuclear family, but an extended family, and all of the people
Absolutely.
who love the husband and wife and love the children too, and trying
Mhm.
to navigate the whole process with sensitivity and with positivity and giving the family a framework for how to move forward into the future. I say that about custody agreements all the time. It's like the foundation of a house. Like right now, everything feels like it's in shambles. But if you build a strong enough foundation, then you can build the
Yeah.
rest on top over time, especially as tensions dial down and things start to get back on track. But it's a difficult time for any family, and I do think it's important, not that you have your own kids, but loving kids and knowing, that families need guidance about how to create this and what this looks like. And this is separate and apart from motherhood or not. But as a lawyer, knowing how to craft the best provisions and how to put things in that will help address common problems and help give the whole family peace eventually, right? Even if it doesn't feel like peace today, but peace over the long term, I think, is the ultimate goal. And positive co-parenting. No, I feel like I get a lot of criticism about how, being women only and how that's divisive, but I think it's ultimately not the goal. Some families are going to find that they parallel parent instead of collaboratively co-parenting, because of the relationship dynamics that exist between them. But I would say from our perspective, the goal is always to be able to help people set up something more collaborative that doesn't lead to more fighting later on down the line. Because there's two goals, right? To like get you divorced and to make sure to minimize conflict over the long term. And a good agreement or a good court order are some of the best pieces you can have working in your favor when it comes to what things are going to look like over the long term. It's I think it's a complicated area of practice, but an exciting one, and one that is constantly changing and that presents a ton of challenges as you meet each new client and you figure out what's important to them and how to help achieve those goals. So it's we're glad to have you on board, and I'm
Thank
glad
you.
to hear more about your perspective and what inspires you and what it'll be like to work with you. I like American Girl dolls too. I grew up with them, so
Yeah.
I feel like you're a great addition to the team, and it's going to be really exciting to see your career grow and flourish.
Thank you
is there
so much.
anything else you wanted to add for the benefit of anyone who's listening?
I am so happy and excited to be here and looking forward to advocating and seeking justice for each and every client.
Great. Well, thank you so much. It's been so great having you. And to
Thank
everyone tuning
you.
in, thank you for being here too. Glad we could introduce you to Brittany, who is now taking clients. So you can give us a call at the office. The number is 757-425-5200. If you want to schedule an appointment, you can ask for Brittany specifically. But otherwise, you can check out our website at hoflaw.com. That's HOFLAW.com. We have 4 free books, a number of blogs, and free reports on a variety of topics. We have a divorce and custody seminar, a social meetup called Girls Night Out that we do about 4 times a year, where we get together and network and meet with other women in similar situations. And we would love to have you check out any resources or attend any events that are going to be helpful to you. But thank you so much for tuning in. And thank you again, Brittany, for being here.